Grego's here. Whoop, whoop. Do you sense the excitement? I wouldn't say it's excitement, but it's some sort of feeling to be doing something a little bit different. Yeah, so we just picked this one up the other day. Hang on, I'll just make sure I'm clean there. Yeah, picked this up the other day, and it needs basically a semi-restoration, as in get the bodywork, a little bit of rust repair, bodywork and paint, and then it goes back. So we're not doing a full-blown, you know, get it back on the road and do a heap of assembly and all that sort of stuff. So it's just been come back from Dave from the Sandblasters. What is it, you say? Could be a Ferrari, could be an Alpha, could be those sort of headlight things. It could be an old Datsun convertible 240Z. No, it's not. So what we have is a Fiat. So it is Italian. Fiat Spider. So is it 124? Whatever. You don't need to know that. It's just an Italian car that's quite small, quite pretty, but just coming back from the blaster, there's a few areas that are not so pretty. So I think this had big side indicator, you know, side markers, whatever they call them, on each guard. So they've been deleted in the past. This all had red paint on it, and a lot of filler, according to the Sandblaster. So you can see the work that's been done in the past there with someone's had an attempt at doing a bit of panel beating certainly with the pointy end there. This is definitely, by the looks of it, had a bit of a hit on the front. So, because that front clip's been replaced, and this guard, they obviously couldn't get another one. These are all welded on, not bolted on. So they've just got it as good as that. Oh, pardon me. I just had a couple of sandwiches for lunch, and it's just coming back to haunt me. So what we've got is, yeah, a bit of panel work to do. We've got some pulling in some low points and tapping of some high points and get it all a bit better. This is a previous repair. It's one of those drill and pull arrangements. They don't use the drill method anymore. They have it's virtually a thing that welds onto it, and you can pull it and release it. And so there's been a bit of patchwork there, put in over holes already. So we're definitely going to do a better job than that, tidying them up. Yeah. So our aim with this is to, because it's basically not a full restoration. It was just going to be in and out basically, but it's probably not really going to be in and out. There is definitely a bit of work to be done on it. So yeah, the repairs before were pretty ordinary. So instead of, oh yeah, you can see on the inside there. So they just put a patch over the outside and welded it up. So I guess it's not going anywhere, but I would prefer it if that was seam welded instead. Yeah, so absolutely a beautiful car when it's done. There's a part that sits in here, obviously it's windscreen's on a frame, and that slots in place. Yeah, so what's different about this? You got a tiny little engine bay here, and you go, well, that's cool. But what's going to separate this from every other Fiat Spider out there? And by the way, Spider Charlotte is his name. You make the connection. So Charlotte is getting an electric conversion. So the idea of Charlotte, not just to be a pretty looking convertible something, you know, a different car. It's going to be a daily driver in Brizzy. So our aim is to make it look presentable without going over the top. So we're not going full show car on it, but we definitely need to address some welding issues and some panel beating. And yeah, so it's not like we're going to cut all these guards away and hand form all this. You know, Andrew's capable of doing all that, but no, we'll be just welding what we have to, doing a bit more panel beating than what was done in the past. Get it down to only needing a light skimmer filler and we'll be good to go. So yeah, same thing, we just want to make sure that it's all solid. We've been on a rotisserie, we've got the advantage of being able to tilt it up. So we've got it all pretty clean here under the floor. Now mind you, the owner was keen on, the owner really wanted to have a, you know, as quiet as possible, like sound deadening. So we'll actually be putting texture coat underneath the whole floor. So I'm about to epoxy it now because it's basically been blasted, it's ready to go. I'll jack it up a bit so that I can pivot it on its side and then flip it over the other way. That's what's good about the rotisserie. You got full, you know, you just click that across there and you can just start bloody, you know, you got to do both ends obviously, but yeah, so the last car that we worked on this rotisserie was the Porsche 914 that we did for David, and it was super handy for sure. So this owner has adapted the rotisserie to suit his car. So he's going to be able to leave it on this. We're going to paint it on this. Then it can go back to his place and he can fit all the suspension, get it on its wheels, and then remove the rotisserie. So yeah, he's going to run batteries in the back. I don't think it's going to have a back seat. It's going to be two-seater. Yeah, so basically really cool looking, super cheap to run daily drive. Definitely my cup of tea. Like if you're gonna have a daily drive, it doesn't have to be a Camry or something, you know, it can be something a little bit different. Just got to dodge the dodgy drivers. So this section here is probably the worst, and I'll definitely get Andrew to put a piece in that maybe replaces this whole section here, because that's a bit of a dog's breakfast. So it's way worse than the other side. Actually on here, yeah, this one's not too bad, you know, like we'll weld that around that perimeter there and probably check this grind and weld that. But this side is worse again, with that being a bit chunky there. We might actually get the headlight rings so we've got a bit of a reference when we're doing the bodywork. So yeah, so that's cool. I had to do a bit of a pre-treatment a couple of days ago. It had the really thick bitumen coating on the floor, which is cool, but I mean, the sandblaster said, look, it's going to take forever to try and get through that. So you best use the gas blowtorch and scraped most of it off. Super messy job, hot and messy, you know, big chunks of tar-based stuff on the floor and everywhere. So, but yeah. So you can see down here, a bit of floor repairs to do. So there is definitely some welding to do. This here is, yeah, the previous owner needed access to in there or something, because there's like a hollowed out area in between like two skins. Anyway, the point is that God knows, he must have just used a crowbar and a hammer or something, just like ran his way through there. I think this is where the standard 12-volt battery used to sit. It was prone to rust, so yeah, definitely a bit of rust starting there. So right, I'm going to get into it. I just thought I'd introduce you to Charlotte. You know, we're starting to finish off some projects, and you know, I know Moose and Sadie are definitely due for a boost as we're finishing the other ones, and that's definitely going to happen. But I just want to get this one in primer. It is a bit, admittedly, it is a bit of a pain in the ass to move the rotisserie around. We had a hell of a time. It just squeezes on the car trailer. We had to get the big trailer from Grantham Fuels there. They got a really good car trailer. And bringing it down the grass hill was a nightmare, because the little wheels underneath. Yeah. So sorry, someone's making a call. I'll give them a call back in a minute. Yeah. So the little wheels that support the frame underneath kept digging into the ground. It's like, ugh. So anyway, with, you know, the old hernia was just bloody doing it's just popping out just about. So anyway, we survived it, and that is where we're up to. So I'm going to get this thing in epoxy so that it's sealed, because that's priority. Now that it's been blasted, I don't want to sort of touch the body with the hands too much. So so I'm going to jack it up, which you can with these. You just get it up higher so it's high enough so that you can flip it around, and just get a coat of epoxy on everything. That's the priority. So you notice it's a bit dark in here because I had to turn the bloody lights off for the strobe effect that happens on the videos. You know what's going on there, so I don't have to explain that. Moral of the story is, let's get this thing coated up, and once it is coated up, it has to wait a bit. Then I can't really do any body work on it until Andrew's done the welding, and Andrew's got welding to do on a couple of other projects first. So it won't be worked on straight away. So, but at least it's had its first stage done, the clean down. All the panels are getting done at the moment and should be finished on Monday. So we'll see how they all come up. That sort of changes everything when you've got all that, the panel across here and the bonnet and everything all bolted up. It looks more like a car. But yeah, so that's all that there is for Charlotte's intro. Let's hope that she doesn't give us too hard a time. So I'm pretty confident Andrew can make just about any shape out of metal. So let's just see if we can turn this thing around. Alrighty, for now. after muchos cleanos, oh my word, I think I pulled out about, going off weight, at least 8 kilos of sand. So that goes to show you, this is my observation. Italian cars are really known to rust bad. And after seeing where all the sand sits and where it hides and all that, it's just sort of confirmed that I think the design and construction is a bit lacking. Beautiful car. See, sometimes, you know, yeah, beauty overrides practicality. But I noticed that it normally only takes me about half an hour to clean up any model Volkswagen if it's been to the sandblasters and done inside and out underneath the whole bit. Doesn't take that long to sort it out, get it, blow all the sand out, vacuum it, and have it ready to paint. But this has taken hours. So, and I sort of put it down to a lot of catch points and holes and everything, and gaps and channels and overlaps and stuff like that. And this is my theory only. And I feel that because of that, that's sort of why they're known to rust. So just why they're constructed. So yeah, anyway, I'm finally ready to get some epoxy on. It's been a while, and I'm basically ready to go. So Dave, the sandblaster, graciously brought the panels back down for me, and they're not looking too bad, really, to be honest. So this, he said there was a fair bit of bog in that corner. You can see some low points there, and obviously a fair bit of bog in here, because that's definitely got some rippleage there. So again, I feel that this has definitely had a front end jobby accident, but yeah, all up, it could be worse. So anyway, wish me luck. I'm going to get some primer on, and I'll cut back to you in a little bit. See ya. Rigo's back. Oh, sweat on the brow. Yeah, so it looks like we got everything coated, and my word, is there some nooks and crannies. It's like trying to do under the floor of a combi. Oh my God, you won't be able to see out there. There's the valley is just completely full of smoke. I don't know where it's come from. Pretty safe here, being in a clear zone, but I mean, yeah, it's just everywhere you look, all around. Yeah, so, pretty happy with that. Looking like expected. It's an old car, and any old car has rust problems. Italian cars usually even worse. So we're definitely going to have our work cut out. Who is? Andrew is. I might just throw some of this on. Sorry, I might use some cheaper stuff. Hang on. So, where's that primer? Etch primer. Oh, where is it? Here. Zinc guard etch primer, that'll do. See, it's not until you get full light, open the door, and I look down, thin strip down here. I can still see a little bit of bare metal, so I'm going to just hit it with that. So it's got something on there, even though, and a little bit in there. Yeah, better than nothing at all, just so the surface rust doesn't start. But it looks like I got it. Very, just fiddly and time consuming to try and get everything. So, but because you've just got so many layers, so many edges, so many overlaps, so many damn clips. Oh God. So anyway, we don't worry about, I'm not whinging about it, I'm just saying that there's a bit to it. You know, you sort of think, oh, I'll just fill up the spray gun and knock a bit on. But it's not just that. So yeah, did I cover all the panels? Yeah, I think I did. So I got the panels back, and we know what we've got to do with those. This bloody Thor tear here has just got to be, you know, it looks like someone's punched their fist through there. All cut out there. Let's actually flip it up. Ding down, flip it and reverse it. One side. Oh. Okay, so now you can get a bit better look at how to stitch that on and plated there. Look, it is what it is. If someone said, look, I want the perfect restoration, buddy, what do they call it, concourse, basically both front guards would have to be completely built from scratch, and like capable of doing that around here, no problems. Andrew's metal shaping skills would be able to handle that, but it would be quite time consuming, which equals dollar bills. So this isn't a high dollar job, it's just a reasonable cost job. But I can't even look at it. I just can't even. It's just, look at that. Look how that's overlapped there. And you know, this actually looks clean here, and that's the level it should be, but because they got this abomination laid on the outside, that means they had to bog up, like lay the bog on thicker than what it needs to be. So then you end up with these weird bulbous shapes. So you can see the little platage action and overlap there, and you know, platage up there, and it's like so we see, this is the top. We've all worked out sort of a price, you know, keep it reasonable so that his budget's there, you know, like we try and keep it under that price that's predicted. But now that we see this action here, you've got two ways of going. You go, well, I'll do it properly and charge a little bit more, which I think we might have to, or you just don't do a good as job. And I'm not real happy with that, because I guess there's plenty of people that just go, whoop, fiberglass, whoop, bog it up, whoop, whoop, sandy, and bog it up, send it on its way, and happy customer, because it'll look good. But we just get to the stage where, oh, what do you call it even? Minimum standards, they kick in, and machine gun Cully's been along there. You know, this is nothing like a bit of that filling there. So by the way, these little panels go in there. At the end of the day, there's actually no rust in any of the panels, so that's not bad. But the rust has been cut out and just not done very well. So they must have, yeah, this must have had a side scrape, and the old-fashioned dint pullers that were just like drill a hole and put a screw in and pull it out. It's just such a shame that it's like that. Hang on a minute. See, this is what I mean. This is the weird part. It's an item that could be pulled off pretty easily. So what have we got? A couple of bolts up the top and a few down the bottom. I'm thinking, why didn't they pull that off? Again, it all just comes down to that. See, people don't understand. Oh, how dare you bloody do a rough job on these classic cars. Well, at one stage they weren't classic cars, they were cheap. And I'm talking about Monaros, Falcons, Tiranas, you know, I don't care whether they're SLRs, GTHOs, whatever. There was a point when they weren't worth much, and owners would say, just give it a quick lick, a bog, so I can sell the car or whatever, or I can only afford to get it repaired at the, you know. So there's no use bitching about what people are seeing. That's just a waste of energy. So I'm not bitching about this job, because I don't know, the owner probably said, look, I got, you know, I've I've scraped down there. That's what it looks like, you know, because it's the same markage as there. And I don't want to pull any panels off, and I just want you to pull the dents out and bog it up. Well, I guess if this had a big scrape in it, at least they made an effort to pull the dents out and have less bog in. You know, I'll give them a couple of points for that. Don't know whether it was the same people that did this work, but yeah. So budgets. You know, you just try and do the right thing first. But there comes a point, and you know, full credit to the guys that only do full-blown, you know, concourse restoration, whatever. You do you, that's fine. But other people, you know, at the end of the day, this is going to be a daily driver. It's going to be parked out on the street. You know, it's going to be, you know, picking up bloody timber. Hang on, just doing a bit of anything I see that I didn't get with the gun. You know, and you know, pick up a bit of bags of potting mix or whatever. You know, at Bunnings, just park it out in the car park. That's what I mean. This is what I'm talking about. A user car. If I say I just said, F it, I'm just going to bog and flog, as they say. Well, bog and flog usually means flog her up, spray some paint on it and sell it before it has a chance to anything happen. If I was to bog this as it is, with the methods I use and the products I use, it could last a lifetime anyway. Oh no, that's going to be too thick there, that'll fall out. Well, not if you know what you're damn well doing. And it's all been, you know, the rust has been blasted away and it's been epoxied, and that's what you want under your filler, blah, blah, blah. So I could actually do that, but it's very difficult to look at that and go, yeah, I'll just leave that, because, yeah, you know, you want to do better. You want to do a nicer job, and sometimes, just ask us about moose. Sometimes you go, well, I'm not gonna make any money, like bite the bullet and just do a better job because it's almost no alternative. Well, moose was a lot worse than this anyway, but I mean, it's one of those things, you're trying to help people out, and unfortunately, you know, you just don't make the money that you probably should be making, but you just also want to get the car done, get it down the road, and hopefully have some happy customers. So we'll make this customer happy, don't you worry about that. So yeah, I'm going to whack together a vid. So I got a heap of time lapse, including the hours it's taken to blast all the sand out of the car, and the actual spraying of the car, the epoxy. So I used the 2.5mm tip, which is like a cannon of a spray gun. It's what you use for your polyester and really thick stuff. So when I'd mixed up that epoxy 4:1, you put a fair bit of thinners, but mind you, the PR250, like the stick stands up in the stuff. You know, like even after you stirred it, it'll still stand up. That's how thick it is. So you need to gun some thinners down into that. And to get it to spray out, so you use the big tip gun, 2.5mm, puts on a nice thick layer. So, you know, if this was a project where this was going to be shoved outside for a couple of years, you know, I would just get another couple of cans and put like three or four coats on it. But this is going to have, it's got enough of a layer there that I can give it a light sand to put filler on over the top when we've done all the repairs. So alrighty, I'll go and I might actually knock off, you know. I got this stuff to epoxy too. This can all go inside now. Now, here's another thing, you know, oh, you must epoxy it within hours of being blasted. Well, let me tell you something. I've had stuff put in the shed that was sandblasted, and because it's in the shed, not near the opening, but in the storage part of the shed, so it's not, doesn't get wet, doesn't get exposed to anything, and like 3 months or more, 6 months after sandblasting, it still looks the same. So it's all about how much it's handled. If you're rubbing your hands all over it, that's where it's going to start rusting first. Obviously, if it gets wet, yep, that's going to start rusting. But if you can keep it dry and not handle it, you'll be surprised how long it will last. If it's been a while, we generally run the DA over it to double sure that nothing's starting on the surface off it. But you don't even need to acid wash it unless it's been outside and gotten some dampage and started rusting. So yeah, anyways, Grego's signing out. It's a Friday afternoon. Now this weekend, Andrew's had to go to Brisbane, do another job for a couple of days, and now is the time to now's the time to push this out, and I really wanted to finish the metalwork on Moose, so we're going to get that sorted and continue on with Andrew's finished all the panels on Elvis, so now it's just the main body. Probably can't see it glary. Yeah, main body's out there, so we'll wheel that in and do that, but we've got a couple of other things to deliver first. So okay, rage. Wasn't that a good show? All right, I'll talk to you later.